Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today we're going to a place where, well, things get a little weird.
Weird is an understatement, maybe.
Yeah,
We're talking quantum physics and manifestation together.
yeah. Quantum physics and manifestation. It's a combo that some people say bridges the gap between hard science and, self-help spirituality.
Definitely seems like two separate worlds, but there are some interesting connections, right? Like manifestation is all about how our consciousness can shape reality.
Yeah, and then quantum physics has stuff like, what is it, the observer effect.
Exactly. That's where the act of observing something, even just looking at it, can actually change it at the quantum level. Reality isn't set until it's observed.
Whoa, okay, my mind is already bending a bit. To get this connection, we probably need a quick crash course on some of the basic quantum stuff, right?
Totally. We got to start with the basics.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest ones is this thing called wave-particle duality.
Duality, like two sides to everything.
Kind of, yeah. It means things like electrons, those tiny particles, can act like waves and d particles. It's like they're in this state of maybe being anything until you observe them.
So they're everywhere and nowhere at the same time until someone actually, looks for them.
Boom. You got it. The wave collapses, and the electron becomes a particle in a specific spot. And the wild part is, it doesn't have to be a human observing it.
Oh, so it's not just our minds messing things up.
Nope, not necessarily. Any interaction, any bit of information exchange can define the state of that quantum system.
Okay, so how does this apply to manifestation then? Are we saying that if we focus really hard on what we want, we're kind of like observing it into existence?
This is where it gets a little speculative. But if we're really serious about this observer effect and we apply it to the bigger world, it does raise some big questions.
Like what?
Well, what if our thoughts, our emotions, even our beliefs, they're all like mini observations that affect which possibilities become real?
Whoa, okay. Instead of passively observing the world, maybe we're actively creating it with our minds.
You got it. Manifestation is all about aligning your inner world with what you want to see in the outside world. And it's not just wishing. It's focus, it's belief, and it's taking action that matches those thoughts.
So like positive thinking plus actually doing something about it.
It's about making your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all work together to bring those desires to life.
All right, wave-particle duality, observer effect, check and check. What other quantum weirdness do we need to know for this?
Oh, there's more. Well, how about quantum entanglement?
Entanglement, huh? Sounds complicated.
It's kind of wild. It's the idea that two particles, no matter how far apart, can be connected in this way where they instantly affect each other, like faster than light speed, which blew Einstein's mind.
So they're linked by some invisible thread, even across galaxies.
Exactly. They share the same destiny wherever they are. And it's not just pairs either. This interconnectedness can happen in whole systems of particles, creating this web across the universe.
Okay, whoa. So if everything's connected at this quantum level, does that mean our thoughts and intentions have this ripple effect outwards beyond ourselves?
That's what some physicists are saying. It makes you think differently about consciousness, about intention, about how everything's related.
My brain hurts in a good way, I think. But it's hard to see how this tiny quantum stuff connects to our big world, where things seem solid and separate.
It's a total paradigm shift, right? To think that reality might not be as fixed as we've always believed. But quantum physics is making us rethink all of that.
All right, sign me up for rethinking things. But before we jump too far down this rabbit hole, let's go back to something you said earlier about consciousness maybe being like the ultimate observer.
Ah, yes. That's some next level stuff right there.
Big time. What's that all about?
So some really smart physicists, folks like John von Neumann, they suggested that maybe it's the observer's mind that's part of this quantum measurement process. Like, consciousness and the quantum world are deeply connected.
So our minds are shaping reality itself. That's a powerful thought.
Definitely makes you think. Raises questions about what's real, what's consciousness, the whole shebang.
All right, I gotta be honest. I'm kind of a practical person. How do we know this is real and not just wishful thinking? Is there any proof this quantum stuff and manifestation are actually linked?
That's where it gets tricky. There are these interesting parallels between quantum concepts and how manifestation works, but the scientific world is still debating what quantum mechanics really means.
So we're in this gray area where science and spirituality blend. And maybe there aren't clear-cut answers yet.
It's a frontier, and that's what makes it so exciting. It's a place where we're still figuring out the limits of what's possible.
I'm hooked. But before we dive even deeper into the science and the spiritual side of things, I want to talk about energy for a sec. Quantum physics says that everything's energy, vibrating at different frequencies, right?
That's the foundation of it all. And that includes our thoughts and emotions. They're energy too, each with its own unique vibe.
Hold on. So my thoughts actually have, like, a measurable energy.
Measuring the energy of a single thought is tough. But we know our brains create these electromagnetic fields that we can measure with tech, like EEGs. So, yeah, thinking has an energetic side.
Whoa. So if thoughts are energy, and energy can affect stuff, then our thoughts could be affecting the physical world around us.
That's the core idea behind a lot of manifestation practices, like the law of attraction. It says that, so good vibes attract good vibes kind of thing.
So if I'm stressed out all the time, I'm, like, calling more negativity into my life.
It's more nuanced than that, but the idea is that your main thoughts and feelings do shape what you see and experience. Not about specific events, more like your overall vibe and what you attract.
Okay, so it's not blaming yourself for bad things, but realizing we have the power to change our energy and, in turn, change our reality.
Exactly that. We're not just victims of our circumstances. We can choose to shift our energy, and that can change everything.
All right, so quantum physics, energy, manifestation, it's starting to click. But there's one thing I'm still trying to wrap my head around. The quantum vacuum. You described it earlier as this, like, ocean of pure potential energy, a boundless source of possibilities.
The quantum vacuum, or zero-point field, is wild. Even at the lowest possible energy state, there's this crazy amount of energy popping in and out of existence.
Wait, so you're saying empty space is actually full of energy?
Kind of. It's not like the energy we usually think of, heat or light, more like pure potentiality, the source of those quantum fluctuations that create particles and antiparticles.
Whoa, so if this quantum vacuum is like a giant battery of potential energy, could manifestation be a way to tap into that and bring our desires into reality?
That's a really cool question. While there's no solid proof yet, some physicists think our consciousness might be able to interact with the quantum vacuum and change the odds of things happening.
Okay, that's deep. But imagine if we could tap into that infinite energy source to, like, fuel our dreams.
It's definitely mind-blowing. Even if we don't fully get the how-to yet, there's more and more evidence showing that our minds have a real effect on the physical world.
Maybe quantum physics is giving us a new way to understand how that's even possible. This is seriously fascinating, and I'm ready for more.
We've got a lot more to explore, like how time itself might not be what we think it is and what that means for manifestation. Let's keep going. So we were talking about the quantum vacuum, right? Like a giant cosmic battery full of potential energy. It's pretty wild stuff.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, for sure. And then you threw in that thing about time not being what we think it is and how that connects to manifestation. I got to hear more about that.
Yeah, so we usually think of time as the straight line, right? Past, present, future. But some quantum physics ideas say maybe it's not that simple.
Oh boy, here we go. How not simple are we talking?
There's this concept called retrocausality. It says maybe future events can actually influence the past.
Wait, hold up. The future changing the past. That's some time travel stuff.
I know, right? It sounds crazy, but some physicists are taking it seriously. There have even been experiments that kind of hint at it being possible, like the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment.
Okay, even if time is wibbly-wobbly like that, how does it tie into manifestation?
Think about it. If the future can ripple back to the past, maybe visualizing what you want, that future goal, sends signals back in time.
So, like, just by imagining my dream life super clearly, that could be affecting my choices right now, making that future more likely.
Yeah, like creating a loop between where you are now and where you want to be. And that brings us to the whole acting as if thing.
Oh, right. I've heard that in manifestation circles, like living as if your goals already happened.
Exactly. By acting as if, you're not just aligning your actions, but maybe sending those signals back in time too, shaping the path to get there.
So it's not just wishing, it's actively creating the right conditions in the now to match that future you want.
Exactly. Thoughts, feelings, actions, all pointing toward that future, and maybe even bending time and space to make it happen.
Okay, mind blown. But we've talked a lot about the universe, quantum stuff. What about us, our brains? Do they play a part in this quantum manifestation connection?
Big time. Our brains are powerful, and one of the coolest things we've learned about them is neuroplasticity. That's how the brain can rewire itself based on what we think and experience.
So like, change your thoughts, change your brain, literally.
Pretty much. Positive thinking, gratitude, visualizing your goals, all of that creates new pathways in your brain, strengthening the ones that support what you want to manifest.
Wow, so this isn't just happening out there in some quantum field, but inside us too. But is there like a direct link between this neuroplasticity and the quantum stuff?
That's where things get super theoretical. There's this new and pretty debated field called quantum brain theory. It says maybe quantum processes are happening in our brains too.
Wait, so our brains might be like quantum computers.
That's the idea. Some scientists think it's happening in these tiny structures inside our neurons called microtubules.
And if our brains are doing quantum stuff, could that explain how our consciousness, our minds, connect to that bigger quantum field and change reality?
It could be the missing link. It might explain intuition, creativity, even consciousness itself, stuff that regular neuroscience has a hard time with.
All right, this is next level. But before we go full theoretical, I'm curious, have any big-name scientists said anything about this connection between consciousness and how reality works?
Yeah, actually, Max Planck, one of the guys who started quantum theory, he said something wild. He said, and I quote, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness."
Whoa, that's a heavy statement coming from a Nobel Prize winner. Any modern scientists looking into this too?
Tons. Like Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's a neuroscientist who mixes neuroscience with quantum physics. He's done a lot of research showing how meditation and intention can actually change brain patterns in people's lives.
So he's finding scientific evidence for how powerful manifestation can be, showing how thoughts and beliefs can actually shape reality.
That's it. His work is a cool example of how ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science are meeting up, giving us a new way to understand human potential.
This is blowing my mind. It sounds like we're at the edge of a totally new understanding of consciousness and how much power we have to create our reality. But you got to be real, I like practical stuff. What can people actually do to tap into this quantum manifestation power? Where do we even begin?
One of the most powerful tools is visualization. When we vividly imagine what we want, it's like training our brains to see those opportunities and make choices that lead us there.
So it's not just daydreaming, but creating a detailed mental picture of our goals and really focusing on it regularly.
You got it. And use all your senses when you visualize. Don't just see it, feel it, hear it, smell it, even taste it. Make it real in your mind. And it'll have a way bigger impact on your subconscious, making it way more likely to manifest in your life.
I can see how that would work. What else can we do?
Meditation is another big one. It helps quiet the mind, de-stress, and connect to a deeper awareness. Meditating regularly trains your mind to focus, let go of those limiting beliefs, and be more open to new possibilities.
So it's like cleaning up the mental clutter and creating space for our desires to take root and grow.
Exactly. Making room for inspiration, clarity, and intuition. And then we've got affirmations, those positive statements you repeat to reprogram your subconscious beliefs.
So, like, if I keep telling myself I am healthy, wealthy, and wise, I'll start to believe it. And that belief will change things.
Just repeating affirmations without truly believing them and taking action probably won't work long term. But they can be super powerful for changing negative self-talk and building empowering beliefs.
Right. It's about choosing the thoughts you want to cultivate and repeating them till they become part of you.
That's it. And the more you practice these techniques, visualization, meditation, affirmations, the better you get at consciously creating your reality. It's about feeling empowered, knowing that you're not a victim but a co-creator of your life.
I love that. Reclaiming your power and realizing you have more control over your life than you ever thought possible.
Exactly. And as we explore these concepts and play with these techniques, it's important to stay open-minded, be curious, and see what works for you.
This has been an amazing conversation, and I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this fascinating topic. Anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we wrap up this episode?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that this whole intersection of quantum physics and manifestation is still pretty new.
Yeah.
We're just starting to understand it, so it's good to be a little skeptical and use your critical thinking skills. Don't believe everything you hear. Do your own research, try different things out, and see what resonates with you.
That's great advice. Be curious, be open, but also think for yourself. And most importantly, have fun exploring these concepts and see how they can make your life better and help you create the reality you want.
Absolutely. It's an exciting journey of self-discovery, and who knows what amazing things we'll discover along the way.
All right, so we've talked about how powerful our minds can be and those practical tools like visualization and meditation. But I'm thinking about energy healing now. It gets a lot of skepticism, but could quantum physics maybe help explain it better?
Yeah, that's a good question. Energy healing, things like Reiki or acupuncture, they've been around forever, but science doesn't totally get how they work. But we're learning more all the time.
So how could quantum physics fit in?
Well, we know from quantum physics that everything is energy, vibrating at different frequencies, right? Our bodies, thoughts, emotions, all of it.
And you mentioned the biofield before, that energy field around us.
Right, the biofield. It's like this
Yeah.
electromagnetic field that interacts with all the energy in our bodies down to our cells. Some researchers think quantum processes might be happening in the biofield.
So maybe energy healing is like tweaking the quantum field to get our energy flowing better.
It's possible. We're still in the early stages of figuring out the biofield and how it connects to quantum stuff, but there's definitely growing interest. And some studies show it's doing something real.
It's wild to think these ancient practices might have been using quantum physics before we even knew what it was.
It shows how much we still have to learn about reality and how everything's connected.
Since our thoughts and feelings are energy too, could these energy healing things help with manifestation? Like clear out blocks?
That's interesting. There's no solid answer yet, but it makes sense. If our energy is affected by quantum things, and manifestation is all about aligning our energy with what we want, clearing those blocks could help that energy flow better.
Maybe energy healing wasn't just for feeling better, but for connecting to a bigger energy that helps us create what we want.
It's a beautiful way to look at it. We're not just separate beings, but part of this web of energy and consciousness.
So where do we go from here? We've talked about the observer effect, entanglement, the quantum vacuum, time stuff, our brains, energy healing. It's a lot.
It is, but the big takeaway is the universe is way more mysterious and changeable than we thought. And we have more power to shape our reality than we realized.
It's both empowering and kind of humbling to realize we're not just watching reality, but creating it too.
Exactly. And even though we're still figuring a lot of this out, quantum physics is giving us a whole new way to understand how our minds work and how we create our lives.
This deep dive has been incredible. I feel like we've just opened the door to a whole new world of understanding.
I agree. This is just the beginning of a much bigger conversation, and I think it has the potential to change how we see ourselves, the world, and everything.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the quantum world, everyone. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep creating the reality you want to see.